news, and he come out with his tweets in the morning. All you have to do is watch what they say early in the morning and watch what he tweets that same day. We being ran by a lunatic and some fools. We in trouble. Thank you.
Robert, I appreciate the call. The question becomes, what do we do? Do we put our eggs in the basket of trying to get different candidates elected in the 2018 elections? Do we attempt to put political pressure on Donald Trump to make him see the light? Remember when he first got elected, there were a lot of folks who said, well, I don't like Donald Trump, but he'll grow into the office. Once he gets into the office, he'll see that he can't say and do those things. Well, guess what, folks? I think he's gotten worse since he's gotten into office. He certainly hasn't changed. So that strategy didn't work out. Do we deal locally? Do we organize and come together as communities and deal with what's happening in our neighborhoods first, and take care of that first before we even get involved with the Donald Trumps? Because trust me, we've got some Republicans and some issues right here in Michigan that need to be dealt with. At the bottom line of all of this, my hope is that American citizens will come to understand and realize what is really going on in this country. They will come to understand we need a sense of right and wrong in this country that supersedes politics, that supersedes partisanship, that supersedes all these false divisions that we have. The world is an interesting place right now. I don't know if you just saw the story where the nation of South Africa is talking about running out of water, out of drinking water, potable water, in I think April or May of this year. Look at the water situation that we have here in Michigan. Look at what happened in Flint. Look at this hepatitis A outbreak right here in Southeast Michigan, the worst one in the country that folks are trying to say is related to water shutoffs. We are in a world where we have dwindling and diminishing resources. We have corporations and powerful moneyed interests that are trying to push those issues under the rug in order for them to make more profits and make more money. And that is driving policy. That is driving government decisions. There was a time when the role of government was considered to be to keep corporations and power in check, to provide some fairness and some balance between the haves and the have-nots. Well, it seems that the wealthy have taken over that process, and so you end up with a Donald Trump in office. What do we do about that? Well, first of all, you got to recognize it. We get back to our phone lines, 313-778-7600. Let's go to Sherry on line 1. Hi, Sherry. Good afternoon to you.
Hi. I have three things I have to touch on real quickly. It was maybe a week ago I heard you say, and I say this with love because I love you, but you had said that that all white people are racist, and the one time that if they don't want to be, they try not to be, and they...
Well, let me clarify that real quick, because I don't want to get out there that Cliff Russell said all white people are racist. I said that someone said to me one time, that was not my philosophy, but someone said to me one time that all whites were racist. You have three types. There are those who are and don't care. They like it. They're proud of it. You got those who are, they recognize it, they realize it, they want to remedy it, and they work on dealing with the racism they were taught their whole lives. And the third group is the largest group, and that is whites who are racist, but they don't know it and they don't think they're racist. They think they're just okay and normal and fair, but because they have been raised up in a society that has promoted racism and used racism, and it's been such a part of our history that much of their racism, they don't even recognize. But that was not my view. That was me repeating something that was said to me.
Okay, well, I had two other topics I have to cover real quickly, but I just wanted to respond to whoever had told you that I read the book Black Like Me when I was 10, and it helped me to know the truth, and I have never been prejudiced. I remember when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I loved all the people who I met, and I never was my whole life, and I always did everything I could, and I've called you several times and told you how wonderful you are. But anyway, I have two other things real quickly.
And you are wonderful, Sherry, and I believe what you're saying, and I appreciate you sharing that. All right, give us these other two things real quick.
Okay, thank you. The second one, real fast, is Rowan Martin, when he interviewed Richard Spencer. That was an important interview, and I only heard it once on another station, and I was hoping if your station, if you or someone could play it again, because how Rowan Martin handled that man, Richard Spencer was saying, well, we hate each other. So Rowan Martin said, no, I don't hate you. And Rowan ended that interview, and I think there might have been a second one. And he was so wonderful to Richard Spencer. He honored the highest form of him. And he, in my opinion, Rowan Martin ought to get an award. And if you were to interview him, you could do the same thing. And I thought if things like that could be done, we could change the way that they see other people and stop all this from happening. Also, real quickly, there's a man named Lindsey Williams, I think is his last name. He's a minister. And he said he became friends with the elite, and he doesn't know if they are going to be right about this, but he says that they are going to make sure that Donald Trump and all of us in this country, we are going to be prospering like never before for 3 years financially. But then but then after that, he says our Pentagon, I think it was, is going to be taking out 7 countries, and then it's because of oil that we're going to be doing so well. And then after that, he said that we are going to be put into the New World Order. So I feel that that is like making a deal with the devil, because we don't want to have to prosper so that we can kill 7 countries. And I don't know if he meant nuclear or if he meant that they were just going to destroy them somehow. But he said they are going to take out 7 countries.
I tell you what, Sherry, that is very prophetic if it comes true. I appreciate the call a lot. I'll have to check out that. But thank you so much for the call, period. I thought you made some excellent points. We got time for some more callers before the bottom of the hour. Let's go to Debbie, who's on line 2. Hey, Debbie, good afternoon, and thanks for calling.
Hi, Cliff. I'm so glad to hear your voice.
Likewise.
Stronger.
Thank you.
Real quickly, I just learned Crane's published Engler is to be the Michigan State University interim president.
I heard that on the way in. What do you think about that?
I think it's very disturbing. It's not really surprising, because I believe the Republicans are using the incident and this terrible sexual abuse, the crimes with Larry Nassar and so forth. I believe they're taking advantage of that situation. Mm-hmm. That's what I believe, plus more. And it's disgusting that that would happen. Really, it is.
Yeah, I had heard that, and thank you for calling and telling us that, Debbie. I appreciate that. I had heard that on the way in, that former Governor John Engler will be named the new president of Michigan State University. He is a Michigan State grad, and so I know he had put his hat into the ring. We'll have to see what kind of president he will be. I know what kind of governor he was, and on that basis alone, I have some concerns. Let's get back to our phone lines. We got Larry on line 3. Hey, Larry, good afternoon. How you doing?
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, driving home from work and turning on your station and listening a little to your conversation. I guess my question to you, I did hear that you had quoted from the Bible a few times with Timothy and other verses. I actually like Donald Trump, and I'm a libertarian, and I didn't actually decide to cast my vote for him until I went to the ballot box. That's how late it was. But here's my question: if you're pro-life and you believe that abortion is actually murdering children, who do you have to vote for in the last election?
Well, if that is the most important issue to you, then maybe you vote that way. I have not shared my opinions on abortion, but let's say hypothetically I'm opposed to abortion. Abortion would be one of many things that I'm opposed to. I'm opposed to racism. I'm opposed to illegally incarcerating people. I'm opposed to police brutality. I'm opposed to prejudice and discrimination. And so there are many issues that I have to consider and think about when I think about how to vote for someone. And I'll be very honest with you, too, Larry, and I really appreciate the call. As an African-American man, as a black man, for someone to use race as blatantly as Donald Trump did during the campaign and has done during the presidency, that is as important as anything else to me, because that takes the discussion out of the realm of politics where there's room for disagreement, room for debate. And that speaks to my humanity. When someone is blatantly racist like that, then he or she is saying that I am less than human. And frankly, it invokes for me the things that my parents went through, the things that my grandparents went through, the things that they told me about, the things that my dear sweet mother, may she rest in peace, had to deal with coming up as a girl. It reminds me of my mother-in-law, who grew up in Mississippi, who saw her mother slapped to the ground by a white woman because she wasn't washing clothes fast enough. And then she was restrained by her mother from saying anything to that white woman for fear that she'd do something even worse to her. That's the history in this country. And so when someone messes around with the issue of race, that goes beyond politics to me. That is an attack and an assault on me as a human being. And that's the problem I had with that. Didn't mean to cut you off as quick as we did, Larry. That was my fault. But I appreciate your call. I hope you continue to listen, and I hope you'll continue to call in. Do I have to go to a break right now? We do got to go to a break. Callers, I appreciate your call. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to shift gears. We got Eric Pate coming on the line with us. A lot happening in sports right now. Michigan State has been in the sports news in a negative way for quite some time now, both basketball and football, and Dr. Larry Nassar. We're going to talk about that. The Detroit Pistons have brought Blake Griffin to the team. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, there's something called the Super Bowl coming up. I'll let Pate explain to me what that's all about, too. We'll be right back. This is 910 AM Superstation, the future of radio.